Lycomingfootball.com. We're talking to head coach Mike Clark. And Mike, there's two games that always are good to win, the last game of the year and the first game of the year, and Lycoming succeeded in that. All in all, after you had a chance to look at it, looked at film, what do you think of that win over Susquehanna?
Well, it's certainly better than the alternative, John. But you know, there were some mistakes, and part of that was, as we said after the game, some things that we did wrong, and part of that were some problems that Susquehanna gave us. So I'm happy that, you know, defensively, while we didn't really stop them in the first half. We were fortunate enough that, you know, some of our pressure, we think, led to some turnovers, so it created some turnovers, which certainly was big. In the second half, outside of the late touchdown after the bad punch snap, I thought our defense was excellent. I mean, if you take away the last touchdown, we held them to 99 yards in the second half. You know, they had a 42-yard touchdown pass, but if you take that away, which you can't, you eliminate that one big play. It was a really good half of defensive football. So, you know, defensively, it took some time for us to get settled down, but I thought for the most part, you know, we were pretty solid, especially in the second half. Offensively, when we didn't make mistakes, we were able to move the ball and score. So, third quarter, we probably should have attempted to throw the ball in some different situations. We probably were a little too run heavy on first and second downs and put ourselves in some more difficult third down situations. But what I'll say is, you know, we were down 2 scores in the first half, and we were able to overcome that. When they finally kicked the field goal in the third quarter, we were able to answer with a touchdown. So collectively, I'm you know, as a staff, we're really pleased with you know, with how we handled some adversity that day, and certainly thrilled to win the football game.
Offensively, I think this is a fair statement. You have to be happy with the balanced attack that you have, passing and running.
Yeah.
I mean, all in all, you have a fairly balanced attack. You can go either way depending on what's happening in a game.
Yeah, we you know, John, there's still some things we need to work on. You know, again, I think we can do more throwing the football. You know, we did that later last year, but we just had so much success running it in the first half, and then in the fourth quarter, that, you know, that we tried to do the same thing in the third quarter, and it just wasn't working. And we you know, that's on me. We have to you know, switch some things up every once in a while. So and again, when we did that to start the fourth quarter, we scored. But yeah, I think. Look, we're good at tailback. We're very solid at quarterback. You know, Chase was 15 for 18, could have been 16 or 17 for 18.
Yeah, a couple drop.
Yep. You know, the O-line, I thought, played a very good game. I like our receivers. I've said all along, I think that's a really talented group of guys. They're just unproven. So, but it's not that we're not talented at receiver. We actually think we have, you know, 6 or 7 guys, if not 7 or 8, we could put in a football game.
I was heard you talking about Nick Costello, and he is coming on as he's only a sophomore.
Sophomore, yeah.
And it seems like him and Chase are getting a little more connected. And just after one game, it takes a lot to get timing down and know what the receiver's doing and the quarterback's doing.
It does, yeah. No, there's certainly and you know, a you know, certainly the mental component of things, and then the comfortability and where the guys like the football, and so again, Nick was very good the other day. We think he has a ton of potential. You know, great upside. He's a big kid that can really catch the football. But you know, Kyle Slivka-Franklin played a nice game. Keegan Morrison had a couple catches. John Kim, we think is going to be a good player. Chase Williams is now playing at wide out. I mean, all of those guys we're very comfortable with John putting in the game. They're all really athletic guys, and you know, Nick is a little different size-wise than the rest of that group, but all of those guys are very capable players.
Yeah. On the defense, I thought the defense was putting pressure on the quarterback more than I've seen last year. Is that an observation?
Very true.
Okay.
Yep. Now our opponents will see that. I mean, based on at least we did the other day. I mean, that's something that, you know, is you know, they had some limited experience at quarterback. You know, we did choose to invest in some, you know, different pressure packages this offseason and look at some things. How much we blitz week to week, you know, that's always going to be based on your opponent and what they're trying to do. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? But I think it's safe to say, I mean, anyone that saw the game and, you know, our opponents that will watch that game will certainly be surprised at the amount of pressure we used the other day.
Yeah. Speaking of passing, I was looking over the Kings stats, and wow, 63 passes, 40 completions, but not real long passes. So without seeing the game, seems like maybe there's some wide outs, short passes over the middle. I don't know if that's true. Have you looked at any film?
I mean, honestly, I've only watched a little bit of their offense. You know, our defensive coaches have seen everything that they need to see. Anytime you throw it 63 times, that's certainly a high number. They didn't really attempt to run the ball a ton, even in the first half. I think there were only 9 or 10 rushing attempts. So, you know, they probably feel maybe a little bit better about their ability to throw the ball than running it. But I think part of the problem is too, it was a really close game to just before half. You know, it was a 2-score game. And then Moravian punches one in to end the half, and then Moravian starts the second half and gets the ball and scores again. And so that also throws some things out of whack, too.
Well, that's true. You got to try to catch up.
Right.
Yeah. But they only had 70 yards net rushing,
Sure.
I think. And so I guess they don't have a star running back at this point.
They got a couple guys there that aren't bad, though.
They could be good. Don't take them lately.
Right. No, they're you know, their running backs are solid. Yeah. And you know, there's a freshman who is listed as their backup that has a little bit of, you know, he worries us as a big kid that really runs well.
Special teams a big part of a football team, and
Sure.
probably the hardest one to get going early in the year. You satisfied with the kicking game?
Well, I mean, schematically,
game?
yes,
Yeah.
John, but no, I mean, there are mistakes. We had an extra point blocked, right? We had a lot of big kickoff return. We rolled a punt snap back that allowed Susquehanna to take over in our territory late in the game and take a 10-point game to a 3-point game. So, no, I mean, we're definitely not satisfied there.
Yeah.
There's some things, but we're working to improve those this week, and we think we will.
It's a tougher part, I think.
Yeah, no, it is. It takes some work, but you know, you got to be able to perform.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
you know, we gave them, even if we would have just got the last punt snap off, the defense wouldn't have had to defend a 42-yard field. They would have had to defend maybe a 65 to 80-yard field. So there are some things we need to work on.
Yeah.
Yep, and we are.
Seems like the defense is a little more of what I remember. Bend but don't break. I think they were really stiff inside the 20, the red zone.
Yeah, you know, the one touchdown was a big one.
Yeah.
We did limit Susquehanna to a couple field goal attempts. But you know, we're pleased. Again, I thought in the second half, especially defensively, we were very good.
Yeah. Saturday's supposed to be a little warm. Some teams have moved their game to Friday night. We don't have lights here.
No lights.
Conditioning a big part of finishing this game.
I think so. I mean, we're just going to have to be smart
and
about
maybe
who plays
use,
and how much.
use more people. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we honestly haven't talked about that as a staff. We did talk about the weather. I did speak with some people at Kings about the game. You know, we've had conversations, but you know, it'll be 89 and the humidity is not going to be outrageous. It'll be warm, but I think we've all played warmer games or practiced through tougher times. So you know, the intensity will be different, and you know, hydration and you know, substitutions and all of those things I think will play a part in you know, how we can be successful on Saturday.
Okay, Saturday's a 1:30 start, family weekend.
Yes.
And that's always a fun time, so if you can get here, it's going to be a good game, Lycoming against Kings. Always a great matchup.
Yep, should be.
Okay.
Yep. We're excited. Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
Mike.
I appreciate it.
Yep.